Hi everyone, I want to welcome you to my channel. As with every video I create, it's been a while since I've created one. I have been working a little bit on some crafting. Most recently I've been devoting a lot of my time to my reading journal for 2026. I know we're already in February, middle of February actually, and I've just been working on it. So I thought I'd do a quick video of what I have so far. So I can't remember, well, I do know the name of these journals. Where's the box? I'm not sure I know how to pronounce it. It's Seques. I do have the box somewhere, but I don't know where the box is. So anyways, I like these journals because the paper quality. And so I bought one last year that I used for my commonplace book. And the pages are 160 GSM, so they're really nice and thick and they're dotted. So that's the journal I use for my reading journal. And I think it's just, I don't know, I forget the difference between A4, A5, all that might be on the back, but oh, well, there's the name of the journal company. Anyways, okay, so I have a few spreads, like the setup spreads. And I thought I would just go through those. So here's my title page, 2026 Reading Journal. This is just an image from a book. And then because you know, you have that weird page that is like glued right here, and so I glued it to the front page in a pocket style. So I just made this large journaling card that I have not used yet, and my theme was going to be the Wheel of the Year, but I just thought, well, I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm still educating myself on the Wheel of the Year, and I just wasn't sure how I would incorporate specifically the Wheel of the Year. So I just went with a forest kind of theme because I love the woods and the forest. And so my table of contents, I realized after I only devoted 2 pages to my table of contents that I would definitely need more. So I took pages from an old journal that I did not like because the pages are super thin, and I glued 2 together and I made a little kind of Dutch door so I could add more because I will have more for my contents. Here is my rating system, and I've color coded, and then I made a little bookmark with the same color code that I can then, you know, take with me as I go through my my journal. And then my reading goals. Last year I had like 6 reading goals. I didn't meet them all, so I thought, let me just set 4 that I really want to focus on. Last year I read 32 books, so my goal is 35 books this year. I want to read 5 banned books, 15 books off my TBR bookshelf, which I will show that in a minute, and 10 nonfiction books. I do try to read 1 nonfiction book a month, but last year that proved to be a little more challenging. My wish list, and this is actually longer. These are just books that I don't currently own, and I would like, actually I did get Remarkable Creature since I made this, so I do have that one. And I have this one on the way, the Almanac of Naval Ravikant. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but anyways, yeah, just when I'm out at used bookstores, thrift stores, these are some of the books I keep an eye out for, because I do like to purchase used books when possible. I do borrow a lot from the library, and when I do have to purchase a book, it's either from thrift books or I love to support indie bookstores. We have a couple in my area and I visit those. I do go to Barnes & Noble once in a while. I still like Barnes & Noble, obviously, and I just, you know, I spend so much on books and journaling supplies that I can spread it around. All right, here's my book bingo, and I probably have already hit a couple of these. I just haven't marked them yet. I don't even know how I'm going to mark them. I might use some washi tape or like a little sticker. This is my birth year, so I want to read a book that was published in my birth year. I thought I had reread. That's a new to me classic novel. So I am going to be reading The Tenant of Windfell Hall, which will be new to me. I just reread Wuthering Heights, which is my favorite classic book, and my friend and I we reread and in anticipation of watching the movie, which we did watch last night. And wow, just wow. I loved the book personally. I mean, well, I loved the book obviously, but I also loved the movie. Personally, it's quite different. Some of the characters in the movie, the way they changed the characters really surprised me. But yeah, I loved both. I mean, every book pretty much makes me cry. So anyways, oh yeah, reread a favorite. So I did check that one off already because I reread Wuthering Heights. Here is my TBR bookshelf. And when my 16-year-old son came to look at my journal, he was all, wow, Mom, that's really impressive. Like, these are all the books you own. And I said, no, honey, these are all the books I own that I haven't read yet. So if I was to make a spread like this with the books I own that I have already read, it would probably be these 2 pages plus one more. And then he was like, oh my gosh, Mom, you need to stop buying books, which he has already known that about me, but it is what it is. So anyways, this is my TBR. I did hand draw everything on here, except, I mean, obviously I have some plant stickers here and there. And then these book stickers, but the books themselves, the bookshelves, this cart, the window, all of that I hand drew. This is what took me the longest, but it's just something I love doing. And so I tried to organize it kind of by genre. I have nonfiction up here, but I have more nonfiction that just didn't fit. Might do like a little shelf flip out to add the rest of those. These are some of the YA books that I have. Both of these shelves here are YA. Down here is historical fiction. I do have one spot, and I have, I actually have a book coming, so that's gonna go there. And then, these are classics. So all of these are classics, and I do have space for one more. Do I have I wrote The Tenant of Windfell Hall already. And then over here is just fiction. And I didn't really organize my fiction in specific genres. So now you can see how my goal of reading 15 books off my TBR bookshelf, while is wonderful, is not, it'll put a dent in it, I guess. But anyways. And then I didn't have this last year, but I made a graveyard of my DNF. I did not finish. I already have one for that. It's the Ghost Bride. And I don't know. I really tried to get into it, but I just couldn't connect to the character, the main character. She seemed very flat. And yeah, I just couldn't really get into it. But I do have The Foxwife on my wish list, which I've requested that through the library, so that I should be getting that in a couple of weeks. I don't know what I'm going to put on this side. I've left it blank for now because while I have a lot of different spreads from last year that I didn't put in here, I didn't use a lot of my spreads last year, my kind of opening spreads, so I just wanted to make it more simple. And then this is my book log. I should have plenty of space for all the books I read because just one page has 31 spots, and then I have this whole page here. So you see I need to finish filling in some of the authors, but I have book title, author, when I started it, when I ended it. I already read The Snow Child, The Beautiful Mystery, Age of Magical Overthinking. Those were my January reads. I did start Wuthering Heights in January, but I finished it in February, so I'm going to put it in my February section. How the Light Gets In, I already finished that. A Ruse of Shadows. Yeah, I was like, I have one more I'm reading right now. Nudge, and that's a nonfiction book I borrowed from the library, and then The Ghost Bride, which I DNF'd. And then I think, well, when The Tenant of Winfield Hall comes, I will, maybe I'll, I tend to read lots of books at once, and maybe I shouldn't, but, well, let's see. No, none of these are, well, The Ghost Bride was an audiobook. So I always have one audiobook I'm listening to because I drive a lot for work. And then I have nonfiction and at least a couple of fiction books that I read simultaneously. I like to keep one in my book bag that goes with me everywhere. I keep one here next to my bed. And the nonfiction, you know, I just do throughout the day. So anyways, that's my book appetite. And here's my January stats page, my spread. I am going to add a quote. Oh, that's what I have forgotten to do. So I really want to use literary quotes in this journal. So for example, on my title page, I want to write a quote in this kind of empty space here. Not on the contents page, no space there. Or maybe this will be a literary quotes page. I don't know. But anyways, for each monthly spread, I want to put a quote, and then I am doing quotes from each book I read. So I am trying to incorporate the Wheel of the Year into my reading journal theme by just identifying, you know, what celebration is occurring at that time. So from end of December to January is Yule, and I did a whole Yule journal. And I made a video of that. So this is my Yule journal, and this ended up being my January journal. I used some of the empty pages to journal the rest of January. That's another goal I have this year, is each month I'm going to make a small personalized journal for the month and do my daily daily reflections in that. So I do have my February journal made, and I'm working on that. All right, so for my stats for January, I read 3 books. My favorite was The Snow Child, and the genres I read were mystery, magical realism, which was The Snow Child, and then the nonfiction book I read was psychology, kind of self-help. And let's see, I have my reflection on this book, but I haven't transferred it in here yet. So this is my Snow Child spread, and I don't print the book covers like a lot of people do. I like to collage. I'm going to grab the book very quickly. I like to collage the book page spread to kind of reflect the book itself. I find the collaging is a very creative outlet for me. So this is the book cover, and I hand drew this. This book was gifted to me from a close friend of mine, and she had actually purchased it for me a few months ago, but I wasn't in an emotional or mental state to read it because I have experienced multiple miscarriages before I had my son, and the last one was quite devastating. The doctors were able to determine that she was a girl, and so this book, the main characters, Mabel and Jack, she gives birth to a stillborn child. So just from other things I was dealing with in life, I just wasn't ready to read it. So I started it over winter break, between Christmas and New Year's. Did I put the date correctly? Oh yeah, there you go. And, you know, I just needed time and space to kind of withdraw from the world in case the book crushed me. But actually it's such a beautifully written book. There's a lot of sadness and heaviness in it, but it was actually very healing for me to read the book. And so the quote that I chose from the book is, "All those sounds of her failure and regret would be left behind, and in their place there would be silence." And the Snow Child herself, her name was Faina, and she had a little fox that was kind of her companion. And so yeah, I have, like I said, I have some personal reflections, but I didn't want to put that on recording. So I have a different, like I have a journaling system where I have like these little catch-all journals that I just take with me, and anywhere I'm at, if I want to write about something, it could be anything, information, personal reflections. So I wrote my initial reflection in that, and then I'm going to transfer it over here. And then this is the beautiful mystery. And again, I have written the actual reflection, but I haven't transferred it here just yet. This is the bookmark that lets me know where I'm at. And so this is an Inspector Gamache book by Louise Penny. I love these books. I live in California, and with, you know, just the heaviness of our country right now, I like to read books that are set in other countries and just kind of escape to those other countries. And Canada is someplace that I have never visited, and I really want to get my son and I up there to visit. But anyways, the Inspector Gamache book series is set in up in Canada. Is that a pencil or pen? Anyways, and this particular book, I forget what number it is in the series, finds Inspector Gamache and Jean-Guy Beauvoir. They go to a monastery, very secret monastery, and to solve a murder that happened within the walls of the monastery. And it had to have been someone in the monastery because no one was allowed in or out for years. Anyways, the quote, well, actually, I have two quotes. He sat quietly for a moment, lost in what was now and forever the past. The scene he described would never be repeated. That overheard sound would never be heard again. And so the heart of this novel was music. And I think that's what he was reflecting on, if I remember correctly. That's why I have music page here. And so, as often happens when men of God disagree, a war erupted. And then I will do my reflections over here. So I just have a stamp of a tree because this is all in a forested area. The key, the door is locked and it's heavily guarded for entrance into the monastery. And then I got a moon stamp. Now, this is the last spread that I actually created. Even though we're in February, I have not created my Age of Magical Overthinking spread yet. I've been playing around with ideas for my February opening spread. Right now, I just stenciled something here. And then this is my page for Wuthering Heights. So I have some ideas for those. And I think today I'm home for the weekend. And I think I'm going to work on these two spreads today. So that is what I have so far in my reading journal. Well, I appreciate you being here, and I hope you got some inspiration for maybe starting or continuing your own reading journal. Thanks so much, and have a wonderful rest of your day.